Okay, thanks for joining me. Thursday morning mindset. It's Thursday. So I always tell people Thursdays are a great day to do things like make a sale, finish up dialogue with a potential person to come into your organization, get some T's crossed and some I's dotted. It's a great day to make sales, okay? Every day is a great day to make sales. And don't ever think that that's not the case. Thursdays just seems to be the day where people's minds have kind of ran through the week. They're not quite onto that weekend perspective. They're more relaxed, capable of making a decision. This is a good day to have those longer conversations, to show up to the locations of the people that you were planning to do some business with and see if you can actually get something done with them. It's a good time. So Beto Paredes is my name, and this is the Morning Mindset. We do this every single day, work days, Monday through Friday. 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for all of you that join us. So grateful that you come on here every single day to get your mindset right, to get ready to make the day that we're living in something special, something spectacular. You can join us if you're watching this on YouTube or somewhere else and it's not the live event by going to tinyurl.com/MMS today. Get signed up and you will get alerts on a consistent basis about the mindset being live. We do this in the morning so that we can get the rest of our day solid. So I always suggest for everyone to get a pen, grab a notebook, think about a few of the things that we talk about today and how that may affect the rest of your day, make it better, get your mindset. As Robin says, get into a state that is a personal best perspective. Okay, always try to get into that personal best perspective as often as you possibly can and get your mind in it. Okay, Robbins even talks about how you talk about those states that you were in later, right? And it's like you're referencing it as if it wasn't you. It's because to a degree the state that you were in is an experience you were developing that is different from state to state. So you want to continue to stay more in that perspective, that successful perspective, okay? So let's get into our subject. Today we are going to talk about when you need to re-engineer your plan, do it. And man, is this a big one for me. I've been working on that because I've had a larger perspective for re-engineering how things need to work. And you know, what's difficult about re-engineering a lot of times is that it's counterintuitive to some degree of progress and action. Okay, because when you're in a program that you've developed that's working, you've got your calendar perfect, your appointments are going well, people are moving through the cycle, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, you get into those mechanics. And I talked about time management a couple days ago. And that time management really does create that momentum, that self-esteem. So when it comes to the idea that you've got to re-engineer sometimes, man, that's like running through quicksand. Right? You grab the baton and you're the next guy in the race and you just run across top of that quicksand and maybe 2 or 3 steps you kind of glide a little bit and then all of a sudden you just sink 1 foot real deep. It's because it takes contemplation. You have to really consider your model. There's a lot of really important things I'm going to tell you today about the re-engineering process, okay? I am an engineer, okay? I like to call myself more of a theoretical engineer. I was a software developer to a degree for a while until I found some real pros that ended up working with me. But I am more of a theoretical engineer. I look at business, I look at technology, and I figure out how to make all of that coalesce theoretically, so architecturally. And I work on a lot of user interface design in order to facilitate the best user experience for the people that buy the technologies that we have a lot of times. And so I'm constantly faced with looking at a model, whether that be my own personal models, which again is a little bit more difficult than looking at somebody else's, because when you're looking at your own personal models, you're emotionally involved, right? But I've always looked at them and have gone through the thought process of how I can help calibrate that model, okay? It's important for you to have an engineer's mentality, okay? If any of you have an opportunity to read a book called Die Empty, I have not finished that book, although I've read a bit of it. My wife and partner here, she really likes that book, and one time she read it a couple times. And in there they talk about being an engineer, okay? And I really thought about that, and in our business, okay, in the business that I've been in for 15 years, we really are more craftsmen. Okay, we're a craft working perspective. We come in and we craft something for a company, and then they use that, right? So it's almost like they came into a blacksmith and we pounded out some spears in a nice shiny plate of armor, right? And then hopefully they go out there and in the battle they're successful. But in that perspective, we try to engineer something specific to whatever company we're working with to help them do some special things. Obviously increase their income, increase their influence, very important things. But when you're looking at your own personal perspective and you're looking at your own business, let me tell you something very clear right now. Whatever your best ideas are about how that business needs to operate, you will, as a rule, consistently, constantly, without fail, be required to re-engineer some of what you're doing consistently. You are going to think of ways to do things better and implement better ideas consistently. If you want to go from the income that you're at to a larger income, you will, by the time you have reached there, changed a tremendous amount about what it is that you're doing. But if you are a real professional, that nucleus, that idea that you started with, that decision you made will still be valid. Okay, people that make good decisions realize that it's the perspective on those decisions, the actions based on those decisions, the methods based on those decisions, the experience you gain based on those decisions that needs calibration and re-engineering, not necessarily the decision itself. Sometimes you got to root it out all the way and completely, but you better be real careful about that, okay? So as we continue down the path as entrepreneurs, we always learn more about what is working and what is not working. Okay, any of you that have been in any industry for any amount of time, did you know more about how to do it right after your first 2 years? Did you understand your clientele better? Did you have the experiences that really helped you move forward in the model 18 months in as opposed to all the guesswork that you made when you started? Okay, any of you that don't answer yes to that haven't been in business long enough. So welcome to the business world. How's that? As we continue down the path as entrepreneurs, we always learn more about what is working and what is not working. So be open to it. Know that even though you do everything the best you can in every way, that you are going to have to, by law, by a rule of growth, make adjustments to the model. Look for the places that those adjustments make sense. Make it a positive experience to understand where those adjustments are and what is needed for those adjustments to really work. Instead of, oh man, I gotta make some changes, I was wrong. Yeah. It's a good thing that you recognize that you're wrong so that you can grow. Okay, we're going to turn this re-engineering perspective into a positive experience for you. Okay, because it is and should be. We'll explain why. Make it part of your practice to choose 20% of what is not working and re-engineer it on a weekly basis. So every week, maybe last 2 hours on a Friday, or that 3-hour session in the morning, coffee on Saturday, whatever it is. Think through what you're doing. Purposely look for the parts that need to be recalibrated. Look for them. Expect to find them. Okay? Expect to see them. Enjoy the process of doing that said thing. And I'll explain to you how difficult that can be and why it can be so rewarding once you get there, okay? Make sure you give what you're doing enough time to see if it really needs changed. You're not killing your original idea, you're building it bigger. I kind of mentioned that, okay? The decisions that you make initially, that nucleus, I want to become an Epic Life distributor, right? Or I want to become a professional MSP, right? Whatever it might be, that initial decision, that nucleus, okay? You need to protect that. You're going to make it bigger, okay? If you wanted to work out to get stronger, okay, a few things are going to happen. First of all, you're going to be challenged, okay? Because if you're not working out now, everybody knows those first couple of weeks are like walking through hell, okay? That's just a fact. Secondly, you're going to have to go through some very difficult decisions very consistently, meaning I'm going to do 5 sets of bench press. I'm going to do 5 sets of military press. I'm going to do 200 sit-ups, whatever it might be your structure. And the reality is you could do that and you could be getting strong, and then some personal trainer comes in and says, well, you know, if you did it in this order, and if you added this, and if you grab yourself a medicine ball, and if you join the yoga class, and blah, 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 you're over here on your 99th crunch because you told yourself you'd do 100 crunches, and they're telling you the crunches are bad for your back. Looking at them like, I just figured out how to do this. Right? We get a dig. It's like once we decide we're going to do something really tough, all right, like we're going to go into the gym, we're going to work out, we're going to get strong. Once we decided we're going to do it, okay, that position that you're in is tenuous, right? You got to hold yourself. I'm going to do it every day. I go pattern. I'm doing it. Whoa! Someone comes in and says, hey, you got to do that a little bit differently, man. We're going to look at that guy. We're going to sneer. I mean, do it differently. I just figured it out. Well, when you're working out, let's talk about another perspective on that. What has to happen for those muscles to grow? Everybody knows this. They got to tear. Okay? They not only tear, they fill with lactic acid. They get sore. Right? Your muscles have to go through the process of actually building. For that building to happen, you got to tear. So, are you killing out your original idea? No. Okay, if you suddenly panic in that nucleus that you developed that you want to become this or you want to become that, that's like going into the gym, deciding you want to work out, and it was so hard you just cut your arms off. Well, I don't need these arms. Right? That's a backwards decision that you make. I don't need the nucleus. You know, I don't need to be an Epic Life distributor. I don't need to be a professional MSP. Okay, it's not that you don't need or should be or anything. It's that you should be very smart, thoughtful about the decisions that you make in the first place and then defend them, grow, get into the gym, deal with the pain. And when you see a better way of doing something, take a deep breath and realize that that growth is part of the process. You have to be growth-minded. There's been incredible psychology built around performance based on growth-minded individuals and pattern-minded individuals. Okay? What's beautiful about growth is there's a pattern to it. But people get caught in a loop. They get things that work extremely well. They stop growing. Okay? You can't do that. In fact, you need to plan not to. 20% of everything you do on a weekly basis need to be reconsidered for calibration. Okay? Every time you go into the gym, the next week, you need to look at all the equipment around you and decide if you're ready to go up. Decide if you're ready to add more. 20% of your routine needs to change. Okay? Any of those guys that you see when you go into the gym that are stacked, have a conversation with them about their experience from the time they started. They will probably tell you at least 10 or 15 times that they changed their routine on the way up to where they're at now. Okay? Life, business, it's all the same thing. Your relationships with your kids, okay, with your wife, with your girlfriend, Okay? There's patterns that you create. There's patterns that you develop of comfort and security. Those patterns are important, but it's also important to break those patterns. It's also important to continue to grow as people together. Okay, it's also important to be uncomfortable sometimes in all of the relationships that we have through putting ourselves out there. You know, Jack Zufelt calls that the discomfort zone, right? You got to live there. You got to live in that zone. That's the potential growth potential, right? But you can plan for it, people. You can make a plan so that it's not a painful experience, okay? Could you imagine if you went into a gym and we're expecting it to just go really well and that you were not going to get sore, but then you just got sore anyways, and you're like, man, I'm hurting, and you're walking around complaining about it? No, because you know you're going to get sore. So you need to know that whatever program you have, you will need to recalibrate 20% of it weekly. Somehow, somewhere, something's got to change. A little bit different way that you write your emails. A little bit different presentation you do on the phone. Maybe the three-way calls that you're doing need to be a little bit more focused. Maybe you need to be texting the people that you're going to call an hour before the meeting because you seem to be missing so many meetings. Maybe you need to understand your product a lot better than you initially thought. Maybe you do need to watch all the training videos before you start doing something. There is a lot of things that could be considered in that 20%. But I said 20% because 80% of what you do should be continued. Make it part of your practice to choose 20% of what is not working and re-engineer it on a weekly basis. That will turn it into a positive, powerful experience. Okay? You'll be like, oh, yeah, well, now it's time to re-engineer some stuff. And I knew it would happen because I understood the principle in my mind to begin with. Okay? Make sure you give what you're doing enough time to see if it really needs change. You are not killing your original idea. You're building it bigger. Again, we just explained the whole muscle thing, right? You're empowering the decisions that you made by making them stronger, by growing, by recalibrating, reconstituting the perspective. Okay, we could get into a whole long discussion about my opinion of those things as it relates to technology and the internet and the growth of the marketing model and methodologies of the planet. But that would be a 4-hour call, and we're not here today for that. Okay, recalibration is the building blocks for the strength of your model. Maybe I should say are the building blocks, whatever it is. So recalibration, for those of you that are mechanically minded, you understand what that is. Recalibrating is fine-tuning an instrument back to its most potential precision. And as you grow, your understanding of that fine-tuning instrument changes. In other words, let's say you started out working on a Honda engine and you tuned it and recalibrated it and tightened it, fixed, changed the spark plugs, whatever you're doing to it. But over the course of time, your experience taught you so much about that precision that you got hired to go work on BMWs. And you're still doing the same thing with a very different, much more performance-based engine. And then once you've really figured out how to get the precision of that engine down, you've been invited to come work on the Lamborghini engine, right? But they wouldn't take you when you were working on that Honda and move you over to the Lamborghini simply because you know how to turn a wrench. Recalibration is the building blocks for strength in your model, okay? Constantly look at 20% of what you need to change, improve, adjust, mold, learn, whatever it may be. Make it consistent because you'll be forced into it if you don't do it yourself. If you want to grow, you have to decide that re-engineering, recalibration of your model is going to be consistent for you. So recalibration is the building blocks for strength in your model. Okay? Remember that. So when things are like, oh man, I've been doing this the wrong way. Oh man, I've been trying this, but it hasn't been working. All that negativity that you can put on yourself because you tried so damn hard. You really tried to make something work and it didn't matter. The magic didn't happen. Okay, that negative perspective, that backward spin that we get, stop it. Stop it. That is an opportunity for you to see something you didn't see before. That is an opportunity for you to learn how to fine-tune that just a little bit better so you can go get hired over at BMW. Okay? It's okay. It's part of the growth, even at the Bill Gates level, even at whatever level Zuckerman is at this point in his life. They're still consistently improving what they're doing. And it's that recalibration. We all have to go through it. Make it positive. Make it powerful. And why don't you take some time today to write down some information about what you personally can recalibrate in your own model now. Okay? Tomorrow is a good day to go through the process of figuring out how to do it. Just write down exactly what you think you need to recalibrate today. Okay? Thank you for joining me. So grateful you guys give me an opportunity sometimes to kind of get my head out of the game and go do some things personally, and I did that this last few days, and I'm back. I'm very, very happy to be back. So thank you for joining me, and of course, as always, I will be back here again tomorrow morning.